but the roast with history was fucking awesome.
Oh, thanks.
I love the Lincoln. That was one of my favorites.
That was a good one.
It's all funny shit, man.
We roasted historical figures on Netflix. Anne Frank. It was fun.
You know, my buddy and I, we smoked hash before we went into the Anne Frank Museum in Amsterdam. And I swear to God, in the middle of the tour, he yelled out, "She had plenty of room."
Oh, no.
We got kicked out of the... What did you say about Anne Frank?
Oh, it was a whole thing about... You know, the reason I did it, this is on Netflix.
That's a great idea, though.
I could roast anyone I want. And,
right.
And
you roast Hitler?
Gilbert Gottfried played Hitler, roasting Anne Frank.
Oh, that's fucking fantastic.
And once Gilbert signed on, I went to Netflix and I was like, I don't think we should roast Hitler. I only roast the ones I love.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's
that's
confused.
a good point.
And it's not for people who know about Anne Frank. It's for the 180 million countries, 180 countries that Netflix goes to that they don't even know who the fuck she is.
That's right.
So I'm keeping her story alive.
Sad.
That's sad. Fucking,
and I learned a lot.
That's pathetic.
You know, she invented the staycation.
Jesus Christ.
You know, she was her high school's hide-and-seek champion 2 years in a row.
Not good enough. What is that? What you know? Again, to remind people who she is.
Anne Frank is not Helen Keller. And thank you for bringing this up, Mike, because more and more her name, the stories of the Holocaust. You know, this is one of the reasons I love being a comedian is you get to touch stuff that people are afraid to touch, but also you got to sort of enlighten people.
Do you think a non-Jewish comic, would you be offended if a non-Jewish comic took that on?
Yeah.
You would?
I'd be mad I didn't do it first.
All right, so I mean, but again, that is a story. I feel like a lot of young people, fuck other countries. I feel like a lot of millennials might not know who she is.
And you know, there was quite a bit of backlash. There were protests at Netflix in Amsterdam where Anne Frank, you know,
That's where the museum is,
story took place and so on. So we knew there'd be some backlash, and it does hurt. But like I said, this isn't for Holocaust survivors. This isn't for them.
They're not around anymore anyway.
Even people on my own writing staff got her confused with other historical figures.
Whoa.
And Alex Duong, who's Vietnamese, who's a friend of mine, he worked on the episode, and then he went to the Anne Frank Museum. And people more and more are telling me they went to the Harriet Tubman movie because they saw our Lincoln episode that Mike mentioned.
Well, you make because there was a lot of people that were tough, had a lot of tough shit going on, and they should never be forgotten.
Never.
Some people have gone through shit. It should never be forgotten. But you know, it's funny. I was in Amsterdam and I took one of those tours. And
I've never been there, so I'm jealous.
Look, it really is a fun place.
I heard they have a Chinese restaurant there with like 5 floors.
Now you're thinking of Staten Island. But my tour guide was a guy who looked like literally one of Hitler's youth. Okay,
Whoa.
so I guess he's got a rehearsed thing. He goes, and he's a young kid and blonde hair, blue eyes, and he goes, "That is the Anne Frank Museum. Very sad. Very sad what happened there." And then he put his head down, and I guess he counts like the amount of time he has to mourn. And then he goes like this. He gets up and he goes, "And that is a great place for pancakes."
Wow.
Like there's a pancake store right next to it. I mean,
life goes on.
Life goes on. It has.
We're made to mourn and
she
then
was
move on.
She was a young Jewish girl who hid from the Nazis in her attic.
Right.
In a small apartment
with her
in Amsterdam,
family
with
and
her
another family.
Yeah, and then it doesn't end good.
And then she wrote a diary. She was pulled off to one concentration camp and then died not from a gas chamber. She died of typhoid.
Right.
Wow.
Which makes sense. A perfect person to roast.
Yeah. And
a perfect person to insult.
And if you watch the episode,
that is ballsy.
She's roasted by Hitler, Franklin Delano Roosevelt,
she almost was.
Don Rickles,
holy shit,
and God. And then at the end, Rachel Feinstein plays Anne Frank very eloquently.
Oh, that's fucking. And does she get up and do a rebuttal?
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what? I got it. That sounds fantastic.
It's a good episode.
I love John Wilkes, just Lincoln itself, and Booth was fucking so over the top.
We did one with Bob Saget played Abe Lincoln, John Stamos played John Wilkes Booth, Yamanika played Harriet Tubman.
So what do you put them in like makeup? Or
it's full on roast, like a Dean Martin roast, but of a historical figure.
Yeah, but it was so well. It was well done because, like I said, written and shot. I loved it.
Thank you,
a couple
Mike.
of
And Frank Sinatra. That would be a good one. And the Dean Martin. Frank Sinatra. So, I just did a roast for O.J. Anderson, the New York Giant guy. And I wanted to ask you this because, of course, before the roast starts, they go, here's the roast master, Jeffrey Ross, sent in a tape. And, you were funny as hell.
Oh, good.
How often does that how often do you fucking get asked to do that?
I get asked a lot.
I know. Sending a videotape, it's a lot of fucking, isn't that just a lot of stress?
It is because,
And how do you discern who do you say fuck off to?
Because I like to read the room. So if you're making a tape,
No,
you can't read the room.
it's very difficult to do that, yeah.
Do you make fun of them? Do you do an O.J. Simpson joke?
Right. And you did. It was great, but,
Did my tape play?
Yeah, no, it did. Because, well, first of all, just at any roast, as soon as they see your face, it's like, whoa, that gets a laugh right there.
Yeah.
Of course it did. But I remember thinking to myself, because I had to close the fucking thing. I'm sitting up there for 4 hours while Larry Holmes mumbles through it.
Yeah.
But, he's a nice guy, but Jesus, you feel, oh, holy shit, what's going on here? But I was obsessed with it. I'm like, how often does Jeff get fucking asked to do that?
You know what? I get asked a lot. And
you're a nice guy.
The
Dude.
problem is,
you're a good guy.
I get annoyed to be asked, and I get furious if I'm not asked.
Well, did you stop doing the Comedy Central ones?
No, I just did the last one.
Did you do the Bruce Willis one?
I just did the Bruce Willis, and then we did Alec Baldwin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you do them still every year?
I produce those, and I do them.
Oh, you produced them?
Yeah.
Jeff, one of my favorites, the early ones I loved when I first seen you do it, was the roast of Drew Carey.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first one. I remember when that
first
happened.
TV one.
Yeah. That was like the
fun.
first one where it came back. And I remember I was living in LA at the time. And I said, wow, they're doing this. And then you were so great. And I said, that'd be so fun. And the next year I was doing the Hugh Hefner one.
Drew Carey is to comedy what Mariah Carey is to comedy.
Did you call him Barney Rubble? I forgot what you said about it.
I said, Drew, you look like Barney Rubble and Buddy Holly had a baby and then peed on it.
What did that feel? Again, you're a comic, a joke guy. What does that feel like when? What you said to me. I'll tell you what. You said something, and I've always thought. Again, Jeff and I have a connection that we've told the story a few times. But maybe hopefully there's new people in the audience.
By the way,
Jeff
I just want to slow it down for a second and say I walked in here.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Artie in a while. Mike, it's great to see you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Your producer tells me you're already started the show, and I'm like flabbergasted because every time I've ever done anything with Artie, I have to wait in his living room for 45 minutes.
Those are the old days.
I was like, he started already?
I think the time you came over was like a 3-hour wait or something. My producer, like Jeff Ross, I did a show in my kitchen. I was late 18 times.
Well,
yeah, no, I got to watch The Irishman Rough Cut.
But Jeff and I are from the same hometown, which we didn't find out until we knew each other for like a couple of years. But you've said some things over the years that I found profound, and this is what the Howard Stern show was to me. And you said when you first killed at that roast, that was your Yankee Stadium.
Huh.
That's a great analogy because any comic, we all try to do a bunch of different things. You act, sketch comedy, whatever the fuck, you do the stand-up shit, but you want to find, that's a perfect way, you want to find your Yankee Stadium. Yeah. And that's exactly what you said. That's a perfect way to put it.
It's such a great skill. I wish I had
a lot of comics never do find
It's
their
not
Yankee
just
Stadium.
what you're good at, it's what you enjoy too,
Yes.
where you're willing to put all that.
And that's when life gets fun because you're making money doing what you love.
It wasn't even I loved writing the jokes and researching the people. My first one was in '95. I roasted Steven Seagal.
Well,
and
for the Friars.
We all try jokes out. You're doing an entire act. You're writing an act to do once.
Absolutely.
And to me, that was exciting.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's like boxing.
But that means you're a comedian, dude, because it's the first thing even comics would think. The first time when I did that, you have to think it was the most intimidating thing ever. But you're like, no, I'm so good at this. This is fun. It's kind of a challenge. You like it.
And then when you hear that pop, when I got the laughs, those, stand-up laughs is beautiful.
Right.
But when you get a roast laugh, it just
because from the road what people like the most is when you fuck with the crowd.
Yeah.
When you're fucking with some asshole in the front or whatever. So now it's like a famous guy you're sitting next to.
Yeah.
And then it's like my Yankee Stadium, and it really was. I mean, that was.
Have you found yours?
Well, I'm saying the Howard Stern show, the radio, being on Howard, that was my Yankee Stadium.
Right.
Like it went so well in the beginning, and then it was so much fun for a while. And I said I had never tried radio, and I said I'm good at this, and it brought me to another level, and it was better than anything else I had done.
That's
in
really
comedy.
cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, but